Hello my lovelies, so I'm Lizzie from Love from Lizzie, and today we are live with Lizzie and we are going to be making One Sheet Wonder using our Autumn Breeze card kits, which are all shipped out. They're all on their way. If you haven't received them already, they shouldn't be too far off now. So after last week's debacle with our microphones not working, we have now got new ones. So if you can give me any kind of feedback about how you like the sound, we've got it so that you can hear what I'm doing on the desk as well, but let us know what it is that you like. I'll do a little admin run through. Yesterday was Thanksgiving here, so we had a well-earned day off, and I've only got 1 burn and 3 cuts, so it's not too bad. So yeah, we've had a really nice day. We'll be shipping today. We couldn't yesterday because everywhere was closed. We still have a few days left for our blog challenge. If you're interested, we have got some cards. I've got 3 here that I've made, 2 of them using the Autumn Breeze card kit. There you go. So this was the original one that I made in the posting, and then I created this one in one of our lives, and then this one was with the leftovers from here, so it's a double whammy, 2 for the price of 1. So that blog challenge is going to run up until the 18th, and you're in with the chance of winning $52, which buys a kit, so definitely worth having a go and having a play with things. I want to say hello to everybody. We've got Ilka and Doreen and Lynn, Shelley, hello, and Suzanne as well. Sorry, there's only so many that I can see. So One Sheet Wonder today. We have created a still shot for you to be able to look at. I'm not going to run through the whole kit contents, but we are going to show you what that looks like now so that you can see. And in that, so this is the One Sheet Wonder we're going to be doing. As you can see, and there's me again, hello. So we have the card kit, Autumn Breeze, which is papers, dies, stamps, is a whole array of things. And just to show you that your ephemera, here we go. So at the bottom there you can see all the pattern papers, and you get 12 in the kit. And then you've got tons of ephemera, there's cardstock, and there's lots of lovely little jewelled bits and pieces, and some of our brand new peel-offs as well. So to make the pattern paper go further so that you can get more cards out of it, I've got One Sheet Wonder arranged for today. Liam's going to show you what that One Sheet Wonder looks like shortly, so that you can pause this. You can pause the video if you want. I will leave it up for a few seconds just so that you can jot it down perhaps, but it's a really straightforward one, and I'm also going to tell you that I cut layers ahead of time. Those layers I did 1/8 of an inch larger on the edges. So for that main one that has our logo in it, the 3 by 3 inch square, I cut a 3 1/8 inch by 3 1/8 inch mat using some of our gold mirror that came in the add-on bundle. And the same for all the others. You just add 1/8 and it gives you this super tiny, super tight, really pretty little border, just to give you that little bit of shine. And I've done each card in different colours, so I hope that makes it clear. The other thing that you could do that would be really pretty is use the same sheet with a second sheet of pattern paper so that you can interchange some of the designs, so it would be a 2-sheet wonder. It's not necessary for this one. I am just going to use it with 1 sheet. We're going to flick down and you're going to be able to start watching what we're creating. So I picked this sheet because it is the busiest of the sheets. When picking a paper for the One Sheet Wonders, let me just show you the others. This design would have been fabulous, but I did use some of it last week, and I wanted to be authentic to show you what you can make from one kit rather than being a bit sneaky and adding extra pages. Now this would also work, however, on that one of those designs they're only 1/2 inch strips, so it may look a little bit lean, whereas with this one that's got a very busy pattern, you'll be able to still see what the design idea is. And all of these would work, but I just think this one works the best. So if you're going to do a one sheet wonder from a paper pack, pick your busiest page to get going with. So as you can possibly see, I might have to pull you on the close-up camera here. I have drawn in pencil the lines that I just shared on the one sheet wonder, and it was really straightforward. I measured at 3, 3.5, 4, 4.5, and then split it. These are 1.5 inch squares. This is 3 inches, and then these are 1 inch lines. So, and it really doesn't take very long at all. And if you're a bit like me, it's the only reason that I put those pencil lines on there was for your benefit. I would just do this all on the trimmer, and that's what I'm going to do now. So I'm just going to start chopping this up. So I'm going to do these longer cuts first and then flip. Now I'm going to try to keep them all the same way up, because for example, these 3 long strips here, I want the pattern to continue when I lay them out on my card. So I will do my very best to keep everything in the orientation that it needs to be. So I'm pushing this up to the 3 inch line, give that a snip, pop that there. And now I'm actually going to snip these the other way, because it's quite tricky to get a finger on holding the 1/2 inch. So if I flip it this way, I know that my measurement is going to be 2.5 inches. That's the first strip. Then it's going to be 2 inches. And then it's going to be the 1.5 inch. So that cuts those 3 without me having to take my finger guard off. Okay, so these 3, I'm going to move to one side. That one just flipped over. I'm going to move those across over here and pop them there, because they're in the correct order and I don't want to jog them, and that would be typical. So next I'm going to chop these, and these are all at 1.5 inches. So I'll do the first one at 1.5. That's number 1. Then I'll do the next one, number 2. And then the final snip for this card, number 3, and then number 4. And now I know which order they are all in. Next, going to cut my the other 3 inch line. That's 1. And now these are 1 inch. So we will just go there and there. Right, so there are our 3 all in order. So I can pop my trimmer out of the way. I've got all of my pieces chopped now. So I mentioned earlier, the camera's probably going to cry at me a little bit for this because they're very shiny. But let's do the largest one first. I cut these all out ahead. So as long as my measurements were on point, we'll be fine. So, in theory, I can lay my... So you see, you get the tiniest little shiny border around the edge there. And that was what I wanted. You can obviously make your borders bigger if you so desire. Now, I need some card bases. Should have thought of that really, shouldn't I? So, let's grab some cards. 1, 2, 3, 4. Some I cut earlier. Okay, so I like my cards to be a top fold. It's each to their own, but I'm going to make all 4 at the same time. So I butt it up, push it in as far as possible. Managed to bring my Teflon bone folder down. So I'm scoring at 5.5 because it's a top fold, and then you always fold into the crease that you've created, just so that when you open your card up, you have that lovely ridge in there. It makes it look super professional. So even if the rest of the card is a bit of a shambles, at least the fold looks really lovely. So how is everybody? We had as I say, we had Thanksgiving. I have a blister burn. I managed to snip myself with a knife a few times. It's you know you've cooked a meal when you're covered in cuts and burns, don't you? We had a really nice day. We had some neighbours come over and far too much food. We're going to be eating the meal for the rest of the month, I think. But that's always the way, isn't it? Okay, so I'm just giving these another extra press. So I have my 4 cards. I'm also going to chop down this piece of card. Comes in the kit. It's a really lovely apricot colour. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it so that there's a panel to sit on my white card base. So obviously half of this is 4 1/4, but I want there to be a slight border. So I'm going to cut this at 4 inches. Cut it at 4, and I'm going to cut this piece at 4 as well. So I'm leaving myself a strip, 1/2 inch. Now 5 1/2, but I'm taking off a 1/4 inch around it, aren't I? So I will take that down to 5 1/4. I'll do the same for this piece. So I have 1/2 inch at the bottom. 5 1/4. And 5 1/4 again. There we go. So I now have 4 card bases and 4 card panels that measure just inside, just to give a little white frame around the edge. Now there's all sorts of things that you could do. You could ink distress a little bit of ink on the sides in. I just liked the idea of having a panel that was not white, but I do like a white card base. I like being able to write on the inside and to keep it really clean. So card, 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 card. There we go. They're all ready now. With love dies, and die cut them both twice. So I have from the same cardstock that I've created the mats with, we have 2 of the scripty with loves and 2 like that, so that I have really easy sentiments to just pop and go when it comes to these cards. This will make a really nice gift set. This is the sort of thing that people would really enjoy getting as a little gift. I was a bit mean to our friends. She kept saying, what do I bring for dinner? I said, nothing, just turn up. I think when you're a guest, it's nice if you don't have to bring anything. You can just turn up and be looked after. So this is the sort of thing that when people have said that to me historically, I'm like, right, I'll take them a set of cards. So I'm just gluing these panels straight down onto the card base. You could obviously lift them up with some foam, should you so please, but I'm not too worried about that. I'm going to put some lift, I think, on the actual pattern papers. So there's 2. So this is just going to be a bit of an assembly situation. Okay. So if my sound goes, I'm sorry, but Doreen has let us know that there's something going on, so Liam's looking at it. So, could be anything, couldn't it? Could be that a moose has stood in front of our internet receiver. Who knows? Okay, so I now have all stuck, ready to go, making sure they're all the right way up. Have to keep them the right way up, my favourite thing. Okay, so now I'm going to start matting the pieces up. I'm going to put the lift behind. So I'm just going to get my papers onto the foil. And you can use tape runner, glue, like whatever it is that you prefer. There is a whole array. Now I can just stick that on immediately and call it done. It can go wherever you want it to. It's one of these sorts of things that if you wanted to have it up in the top corner like that, for example, and grab one of the ladies, I think that's a really pretty card. In fact, I think let's not mess with something when it looks so pretty. And then I'm going to use Big with Love. There we go. Easy as that, isn't it? So I'm going to pop some glue behind here. And I think this is when you have a few, it's one of the reasons I like to work with a kit. When you have a few different items on your desk that all coordinate, you just get to play a bit. You get to just lay things down and you know that they're going to work because they're all coordinating product. So, and creating your own one sheet wonder is also fun, I think. You know, I just sat down at the computer and started creating some shapes, obviously like squares and rectangles. And I pop that slightly high so that she's got some space. But yes, you creating the one sheet wonder, big mama tape, we get I just got some squares and just started positioning them. And there's only so many different ways that you can cut a 6x6 piece of pattern paper, to be honest. So there's inspiration. You can look. So many people have created so many before us. Sorry, I'm just going to move my bin because I had a right mess here last time. Okay, so with love, we're going to pop that just slightly up. I think let's hold her on. Let's make sure it all looks balanced. Yes, so it's making sure that this line is straight here and it is wider than this side. I am aware that wasn't a boo-boo. And then we can pop her, but have her hanging slightly over the edge because otherwise that will look like a weird gap. So if we just slightly pull her over, we can pop just some glue behind her head and the pussycat. And then if we pop a bit of tape under her legs and her body to support her because we don't want her sagging. Please excuse my little sniffles. I've had something of a cold for a while now, and apparently I'm snoring now. So for those of you that have been here with me moaning about Liam's snoring, apparently the tables have turned, so sorry. Okay, at least it's fair. So I'm going to pop her down there. And because I absolutely adore these, where are they? Here they are. Oh my goodness, these little acorns that came in the kit. I just love these. I think they are so cute. I'm going to save them. because I'm going to call this one done. It's that quick. Now you could put some of your little peel off hearts. You could put some of the leaves that came in, but that is just a quick, super quick with love. First one's done. Right, next one. Let's do the long strips. Now, you could, with these long strips, oh, did I cut that one? We'll see. With these long strips, I did leave them at 6 inches. You can chop the extra bit off, but I thought it would be nicer to leave it on so that then you can decide how you want your card to look. So, there we go. Oh, these are too wide. I've cut extra on there, haven't I? Oops. So, where's my trimmer? This is going to be disastrous, isn't it? So this piece needs to be tighter than it shows on the measurements. Right, there and there. Wish me luck, everyone. I think I might have got away with that. Let's see. Oh, we did. That was super lucky. Now we're going to do the middle one again. So this is a half plus an eighth. So I'm going to leave you to work those numbers out. What is that, 5/8 in total? If someone can confirm or refute my shocking use of... There we go. Oh, do I remember where I got the Big Mama roll? I got it in the UK. We used to stock it ourselves. I mean, it's something that we can look into again if that's something that people are interested in. So, I will, if you pop us an email, then I will get that looked into. So, now let's talk about these strips. We can have, because they're 6 inches, you can play. We can go, you know, we can go diagonal, which is really cool. Liam's over there creating a stir. I think he needs a bit of attention. Right, so we could do this. We could go like this. Like, so many different options because we've left them big. I am, just for simplicity, going to go straight lines down, straight down the middle. But what I am going to do is I'm going to trim them down because I would like them to be this long. Doing it all by eye, and then I'll measure it so that you can, so that you know. Can't even see where I put my pencil line now. That's really unhelpful, isn't it? You know, you don't want to mark it too hard so that it's super obvious. Well, you need to be able to see it, dear. So make sure it's dark enough for that. I think that's probably 5 inches. Let's have a look. Oh no, just less. So I'm going to chop 1.25 inches off of the bottom of all 3 of these. So, little trimmer. This is the bottom. 1 inch. I'm going to use the lines here. 1.25 inches is coming off. And I'm using the line to measure up to make sure I'm straight because it's difficult because I can't really see that end. So that's the bottom going away. That goes back there. That's the middle one. 1.25 inches. Using again the line on the trimmer. So the reason that I've left these ones longer is, as I say, then that way you can choose how you want them to look. And then once you've chosen which way you want them to be positioned, then you can chop accordingly. So these also will lose 1.25 inches because these are going to get chopped down just a little touch further. It doesn't matter on these back, top and bottom, because obviously they're all the same. But yes, I like making one sheet wonders because they are very straightforward. You know what you're working with. And they work so well, and they will look completely different. You can make one with one kind of pattern paper, and then you do exactly the same one sheet wonder with a different one, and completely different look. So let's get these all attached. One. And yeah, I did mention at the beginning, and it probably would make a bit more sense to mention it now, but if you did this with 2 sheets of paper, 2 sheets of pattern paper, all the same cuts, you'd be in a position where you could switch out some of the patterns so that you could have, oh gosh, a bit of a globby bit of glue there. So you could have, or even if you did it with 3 different sheets, you'd have 12 cards that all coordinated, which would be really lovely as a gift. It does use 3 sheets of your pattern paper, but I think 12 cards is decent maths, isn't it? For considering 10 is what we say the kit's there for. So now you just get to play with how you want to position them. Oh, and I have moved them around, haven't I? What a silly Billy. That was going to happen. There we go. They're all, that's it. That's the, no. I just had them all upside down. How silly is that? There we go. So now if we butt these right up next to each other, you can see that the pattern continues. And you could, instead of having cut all individual pieces, cut one larger piece of the gold mirror so that they all stuck together. So you can pop them all up to one side. Yeah, it's just what you and your creative license fancies. I am going to, let's have a look. Where did I pop my with loves? Here we go. Make sure we haven't got any add-ons. With love, and just going to work out, oh, should we have the little pussycat walking across the top? She may walk better across the others. So we could just use a piece of the ephemera. In fact, we could sit this right on top. There's so many options. Again, yeah, I just didn't even think about that. We could stagger them as well. That would look really nice. Sorry. Going off on a little tangent here. Let's have a look. We're going to go with this. I'm going to use one of the wreaths, and then I'm going to pop some glue. Yeah, made my mind up, everyone. Didn't take too long. So gluing the first one down, and then I just make the other ones follow suit. Once you've stuck it, yeah, there's different ways. Some people like to stick the middle one first, but because I'm doing them over to one side, it doesn't really matter. As long as the gap between this one and this one and this one and this one all remain the same, it's fine. So I'm going to make that gap ever so slightly narrower than the gap at the edge there. And then the third one, I will, just to be pleasing to the eye, make it match the gap there. I have obviously used a mirror cardstock to go around. Pinstripes look amazing, and of course we have so many more colours available. So like, do keep that in mind, because I think they look amazing. Now this, I am just going to stick flash. I'm going to show off and be a flashy stick. We'll pop this on here, and I'm going to keep the flowers down towards the bottom. Give that a nice little press, and then I'm going to use my Scripty with Love. And with this, you only really need to cover off the extensions, you know, the extreme bits, the bits that are going to want to jump off when you push the card in and out of the envelope. So I just make sure that all the pokey bits are going to behave, and I'm just going to lay that directly on top. Give it a little squash. Okay, so there's my next card. So we have two with loves. Very cute. Next one here. And we have the 3 pieces. Now, let's attach those down to their coordinating bits. Looks like I've managed to get the math right on this one as well, which is, it's pretty good going for me. It's not my strongest of suits. My little pig, on the other hand, he's math whiz. I was more of an English buff at school. I loved English literature and the law, funnily enough. Okay, so those. And then this is the final piece. Again, this would look really lovely on one larger piece of gold mirror rather than 3 individuals. Okay, here we go. I've kept the pattern. I was very careful there. Now, I think that's really pretty little one we can do. And that could go on the, oh, missed a bit. That could go on the inside of the card. In fact, you know what we need to do? We need vellum. We don't have any vellum handy. I'm getting the eyebrow raise from Liam. We won't. What would be super pretty as an idea, so someone else do this for me, please, please, please. I have one of the leaves from the kit die cut in gold mirror as well, and if the shadow was die cut from vellum and put behind, that would be stunning here. I really feel like there should be some perhaps in the back of that. Stop, look, this one. Flapping out the back of there perhaps, is there? Ah, amazing. We get to do it, we get to play. So, this is just a regular piece of vellum. Going to, as you can see, I don't like to waste. Going to pop this through my Cuttlebug. Okay, so die cut down, paper in. Didn't Liam do well there? He's learnt what vellum is. Okay, so now I've got my little piece. Let's pop that in the bin. Die can go back. Okay, so now he'd be really cross if I said, oh, I've changed my mind. I don't actually want to do that. I won't. I'm not that mean. I'm not that cruel. So let's get, again, some similar as before, just going for the extremities to make sure that they aren't going to lift. Pop some in the middle. This is such a delicate little die cut. Even using a tape runner, you know, the ones that are just little tiny dots, it would be great on this, just to get it sticking. Okay, I think we're good. It should cling now quite nicely, and then try to line it up as best I can so I don't get glue splodges everywhere I don't want them. Okay. Now, give it a nice press from the back without trying to screw it up. Okay, so what I'm going to lift these 3 panels. I think that's going to look most pleasing. That's asking for trouble doing them that thick, so we will go, just take the width down a bit. That decided to run away from us. Flip that over, down it goes, just so that I keep the pattern in the right direction. Try to keep it all uniform. Oh, you little beast. Little beasties. Okay, so Cheryl. Cheryl's asked how many times has the little piece of tape been used? Okay, so that one's still quite new. It's not had too much use, but it's one of the things that Liam gets cross with me. I feel like I'm being frugal, saving the planet, one piece of tape at a time. Am I on my own there? Am I the only person that reuses washi tape or painter's tape when it comes to taping down die cuts? They stay there for ages with me. I like it when they're not too sticky that they tear my paper, because that does make me very cross. When you go to all the effort of die cutting and then you're poking it all out and then you move the tape off and then it goes and you've got to do it all over again. That does not make me a happy bunny, must be said. Right, so I'm going to pop some glue up here behind the top and along the bottom, because I want this to be floating in the middle. Let's pop a bit just here and here. Okay, I think that's really pretty. I know, like, I'm biased, but and then what I'm going to do is, because I did die cut the sentiments, I will pop this one on the inside. And then, there we go, not too far, nearly done. Actually, I'll put it a bit, we'll put it here. Never know where to put the sentiment, because sometimes it's nice to put your message or your greeting above the sentiment, and then sometimes it's nicer for it to be below. So there we go. So that's number 4. So we're on to our final one now, ladies and gents. And we have our 4 pieces. Now, I'm going to glue these straight down and hope for the best with my measurements. I'm just wondering whether I should make this different. I'm sorry about the silence there, everyone. That's what happens when my brain starts clicking through. I was just... No, you know what? I'm not going to overcomplicate things and run risks. I was just wondering about using my corner chomper on a couple of them. But I'll keep it simple and allow for everybody else to make some really fancy and funky variations, because it is easier to come up with your own variation when what you're working from is really lovely and simple. So I'm going to keep it simple for everyone. Okay, so top fold. Now we're going to start playing with how this gets to look. So we could go along the middle, leaving a gap. We can position them all together. I think we're going to do this. I think we're going to offset them slightly. Or would it be better, like perhaps this way, so that we can have the with love in the bottom corner. And I think we are going to have one of these wonderful pussycats sat on top. There we go. So I'm going to lift my 4 pieces of pattern up, just chop some tape. Oh gosh, of course I've cut them too large. Okay. And then they're all too big. All too big. Don't worry, no tape goes to waste in this house. And then I'm going to start at the bottom on this side to work up just to keep it all nice and level. So I'm looking at this sort of gap and I want to replicate it, which means around there. Oh, and it turns out the last piece was small enough. So, and then I want to replicate that gap here. There we go. We could even have the pussycat. Oh, we're going to have the pussycat sat up here. I think that's really cute. Now this, I'm going to have to put some foam behind here. So let's trim some super skinny pieces. Okay, so it's the love at the bottom that we need to support. When you cut foam tape thin enough, you can flex it a bit, but you will need to take the backing paper off pretty quick because otherwise it will get cross. And try to sit back down again. So let's pop, I need it up behind the swirly W and the ITH. So let's get that glue on the go. This all looks as though it's just blobbed out at me, so I'm just going to smudge that with my finger and try and keep in mind that that is now covered in glue. So with love, sticking the swoopy bit up with some foam there, and I'm just encouraging it under. And then we're going to need some foam up behind our lovely pussycat. And a bit of glue on the tail. There we go. Take those away. Okay, so everybody, we have created a one sheet wonder, and we've managed to make 4 cards. And if you add those to our 5 in a flash from last week, there we go. So we now have 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 cards made. So we will make sure that we make the 10th. But officially, I suppose, if we include our challenge cards, we have actually made 11 now. So, well, that's a super shiny one to let the camera cry about. But yes, so we've got quite a nice lot of inspiration. I'll make sure that these cards all get uploaded onto our kit. And yes, so which of these 4 are your favourite? Need to know that, that's very important. Plus, if you were going to make this, would you have positioned your pieces differently to what my default positioning was? So there we are. There's our 4. The kits are shipping. They're all on their way. We're all up to date. We ship daily. We will be back next week. Of course, we have release day very soon. What date are we on today? Sorry, everybody. Okay, so it's the 14th today. The 19th is the weekend, therefore. So I believe we're releasing on Monday, which will be the 20th. So on Tuesday, our live will be our brand new blog challenge. And then we've got, then we'll be making away with the kit. We'll be doing 5 in a flash again, because I think that was really popular, seeing 5 cards made in about an hour and a half with the kit, and you can craft along real time with me then. We are going to, I believe it's going to be in the new year, start having 2 lives a week so that we can do an evening session for those that have daytime commitments. And we have now released our Wicked class, our Wicked Witches class. We are so excited for that. we sent out an email to the alumni, and it is now open for everyone. We have 4 guest teachers, and we will be, over the coming days, sharing who all of those teachers are. Super excited. Have a look on the website. We'll pop a link in the description to the Wicked Witches class, just in case you enjoy it. But it is 2 whole days. And I don't know how much to spoil here. I don't know how much to share, but there is a lot of product that you're going to be receiving. You'll be receiving 20 fully kitted cards. So all of the die cuts are going to be cut, and all of the random bits and pieces that I like to add to cards will all be included. So I'm super excited to be sharing extra details about that. And we have got, we'll have some sneak peeks of what's coming to share along with our lovely guest designers. So I think that's about everything, everyone. Thank you very much for joining me. I really hope you've enjoyed it. And I look forward to seeing you next week. But in the meantime, please, please, please make something beautiful and share it with us in Facebook on our group.